Hello there, my name is Vineeth Vemuri, and today I will be giving a visual analysis into which car manufacturers are predicted to be the most eco-friendly. This is based off emissions data provided by the Environmental Protection Agency. We will be doing this analysis on these brands present right here within this circle, and we will be doing it for model years of cars 1992 to 2022. This is for the Data 620 class, section 9041, taught by Professor George Cross at the University of Maryland Global Campus. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Looking at our first visualization here, we have the average real-world CO2 emissions and the average real-world MPG for the Asian manufacturers. We have it split up by manufacturer origin country, just to make the comparisons easier. And typically in the real-world market, cars are classified by their origin of country. So looking here, we do see that these uh, lines are very consistent in terms of general behavior. They seem to rise and decrease at pretty much the same rates. Uh, However, if we were to look at the forecast as to which brands are trending in the best direction, we do see that for the CO2 emissions, we have Hyundai having the steepest slope here. And I believe that this does make sense as Hyundai is striving to make their cars very efficient and have taken big strides in the automotive industry recently. And I think the confidence in this particular forecast here of it being the lowest makes complete sense. And secondly, we move to the MPG. We see here that Toyota is estimated to have the highest MPG by 2027. These forecasts go up until 2027. So we see here the confidence interval does have it going up in a positive manner, of course. And we see here that the line is forecasted to be at 34.5 mpg, and this makes sense as well, as Toyota is generally known for making extremely fuel-efficient cars, and I wouldn't be surprised if that trend continues. So let's move on to German manufacturers. So we see here we have the same graph, the same visualization present, but these are just German manufacturers. So likewise, we look at the average real-world CO2 in grams per mile for the German manufacturers. We see that Volkswagen slightly edges out in terms of having better CO2 emission. Uh, with the German brands, and as they say, like German engines are very efficient. So this makes sense that Volkswagen and BMW both are very similar in that regard. Mercedes has been lagging behind, but their focus is more about luxury. And then we have the average real-world MPG, and we see that BMW here outrightly wins in terms of the projected average real-world MPG. And this makes sense as well. BMW engines are very gas efficient on the highway, and so I believe that the confidence in these projections is also very correct. And another way of ensuring that our confidence intervals are relevant is that there is very little variation between the data. Like I said, they both follow a very similar pattern, either rising or lowering at the same amount of time. And then lastly, we'll move to the American cars here. So if you look at the average real-world CO2, we see that Ford likewise is projected to have the lowest CO2, and GM is projected to have the highest real-world MPG. Uh, like I said, I have good confidence in these forecasts because in the modern day, many of these car manufacturers are trending towards being more eco-friendly. But we do see here that Ford and GM accordingly either are forecast to produce the least CO2 or have the highest MPG. And lastly, we'll just take a look at the weight. So the weight of these, weight is important because if a car is heavier, then it's going to burn more fuel and burn more and have more CO2 emissions. So we see here that Hyundai and Mazda are the lightest cars. So taking into account of what we've chosen as the best brands from these, we can do a final litmus test, and we're going to check and see how real-world CO2 compares to horsepower and weight in pounds. So this ratio here is important because a car with more power and a higher weight ratio means that it's more efficiently using its power in comparison to its weight. And so if this line is shallower, then we can see that that less CO2 is being produced for how much power and weight this engine has. So from this, we can see that BMW and Hyundai are striving to be the most fuel efficient and eco-friendly cars, or based on previous trends of data. And we can look to, and let's take a look at our references here. We can see that our data is sourced from EPA. And hopefully this was helpful and gives you good insight into the trends of most major car manufacturers in the US, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching.